Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Aaron.
Aaron is right here with the wrong screen orientation. Now we're good. Welcome back, everyone, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day. Not to be in a cult. Guys, I've spoken in some of my previous videos. First of all, it's an odd hour for me to be going live. You guys know I try to do at least one live stream a day. It's 11 p.m. I haven't done a live stream yet. I've been working my butt off trying to get the house ready for all the excitement that's going to be happening next week. You guys might have heard a little bit about it on some of the other channels. I haven't let anything out of the bag yet, but needless to say, I could not let a day go by, especially just a normal Saturday where nothing, I'm not out of town, I'm not traveling. You guys know I had to do a video. So, okay, I've mentioned in some of my videos, in a lot of my videos, one of the weirdest partnerships anyone could have ever imagined. Louis Farrakhan's Nation of Islam and L. Ron Hubbard's Church of Scientology. And I won't even get into the whole origin story of how this partnership came to be. But someone shared a video with me recently of an actual member of the Nation of Islam speaking, addressing, almost giving an introductory speech at a Scientology graduation. Scientology organizations are supposed to have a little graduation ceremony every Friday evening just to give certificates to everyone who's finished a course or finished an auditing action. It's not anything super special. But I've never seen anything like this before. And I figured, let's watch it together. I've watched this video. I've fast forwarded through it. I do not know which Scientology organization this speech is being given at. Maybe some of you guys out there, either in the live chat or in the replay, can let me know if you happen to know. I'm assuming it's Chicago. I'm assuming it's Chicago because the organization itself doesn't look very nice. So it's not Washington, D.C. The Chicago organization and the D.C. organization have the most Nation of Islam members in Scientology. The DC organization's a kind of a fancy building. This building doesn't look fancy. So I'm assuming it's Chicago before they were in their new building. Let's just watch this together, guys. You guys can do your own deep dives, go down those rabbit holes on how in the world did an organization like Louis Farrakhan's Nation of Islam join Scientology? Because I can tell you this partnership does not go two ways. The number of Scientologists, that's partially because the number of Scientologists who are Black are almost zero. This is a one-way street partnership. Louis Farrakhan has Dianetics clear, and many of these Nation of Islam members have gone where you learn about Xenu and you learn about the body thetans. There is no world, there is no dimension are compatible with the beliefs of Scientology. And I have yet to have the opportunity to actually personally sit down with either a current member or have been convinced to go along with this. And that's something that I hope to do in the near future. But in the meantime, let's hear from Brother Remy Aregbesola as he addresses the Friday night graduation at some unspecified Church of Scientology. Here we go.
It feels wonderful to be here. Before I begin, let me ask you, how are you feeling?
Good.
How are you thinking?
Good.
Beautiful. I learned the pattern for you. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. Furthermore, I bear witness that Allah, God, came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the long-awaited Messiah of the Christian and the Mahdi of the Muslims. I furthermore bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted Christ, and Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as our divine leader, teacher, and guide. So I greet you in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Those words are very important to me, not because I learned them in the Nation of Islam, which is one of the reasons why I found Scientology, not because my parents were Muslim or are Muslim, but because of a desire that I had since I was a young child. I grew up on the south side of Chicago. It's mainly Christian, Baptist from the South. And I remember at a young age, I just knew that the divisions between the religions didn't make any sense. And I remember being frustrated at different points in time in my life, trying to understand these scriptures, trying to make sense of the Bible, trying to make sense of the Quran.
For those wondering about the audio level, I am playing it at full volume. So the original audio is just at a pretty low level.
Trying to make sense of what my parents were teaching me. And I found solace in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. When I joined the Nation of Islam shortly after leaving college, he gave me a better understanding of what Christianity is, how to be a Christian, which also gave me a better understanding of how to be a Muslim.
Oh my God, guys, he's a Muslim Christian Scientologist.
I did not expect that I will gain a better understanding and come to find out what Scientology is. So while studying Scientology, I came across a quote from L. Ron Hubbard that is very profound and reached deep within me and helped me to continue my studies without being sidetracked. And I will share that quote with you. Change no man's religion, change no man's politic. Interrupt the sovereignty of no nation. Instead, teach man to use what he has and what he knows to the factual creation within any political reference of a civilization on earth for the first time. And so we work. When I read that quote in Fundamentals of Thought, when I was training to become an auditor, I realized that Scientology was going to bring out of me something that was in me.
Yes.
Okay, I got to pause it right here. I'm sorry. He mentioned reading the Scientology book, Fundamentals of Thought, as he was training to be an auditor. That means he was no longer training to be a Dianetics auditor, because the only book you read when training to be a Dianetics auditor is, wait for it, Dianetics. You read Fundamentals of Thought when you're training to be a professional Scientology auditor. Louis Farrakhan did not know what he was getting into when he told his members to go read Dianetics and become a Dianetics auditor. These guys are now full-blown Scientologists.
And I wasn't really focused on what people called me on the outside. I was more focused on the truth that resonated with me in the inside. You already know where I'm going. Yes, so the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said these words because from time to time, sometimes you can be discouraged. Sometimes people mean well and they want the best for you, but they don't know how to always phrase it. At the same time, they can have misunderstandings and they're misguided. But along my journey in Scientology, words from L. Ron Hubbard and words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad kept me progressing in my own spiritual development. On May 12, 2013, during the Mother's Day lecture, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, "Let me be even more clear. I'm not trying to lead you to another religion. You've got the best religion, but evidently you don't know your religion. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad in our lesson said Islam is everything, sun, moon, and stars. How the hell can you tell me that knowledge is not Islam, science is not Islam, mathematics is not Islam? Allah says in the Holy Quran, I am truth. So anywhere you find truth, it belongs to you. You are the natural owner and possessor of truth." So at that point, I didn't focus on labels anymore. My parents, I grew up in a household where my parents speak Yoruba. Most Muslims, the scriptures that we read is in Arabic. Christianity, those holy books are in Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek. But I started to realize that those labels weren't as important as the mission that we actually had. As a member of the Nation of Islam, I believe that it's very important for us to have identities, but not to get stuck on our beingnesses and identities, because the work that we do transcends all the labels that we may have.
All right, now speaking of labels, many of you may not know this, but L. Ron Hubbard was actually a black man. His real name was L. Ron Hoyabembe. Who said it in the chat? Someone mentioned The Eric Andre skit. Eric Andre is a hilarious comedian, and he did a comedy sketch bit of going out on the street as like, what do they call? Do they call them the Black Israelites? And they had a picture of L. Ron Hubbard, and photoshopped over his head was like an afro, and they colored his skin so it was a little darker. And they were like, L. Ron Hubbard was a black man. His real name was L. Ron Hoya Benbe. I actually have created a YouTube short of that skit because it was so funny, but I just couldn't help it, guys. I just could not help it. Here we go.
So as I continued training, I realized that though I became an auditor to help clear brothers and sisters in the Nation of Islam, as the minister taught us to get HDA trained, I didn't know that I was really saving myself. There was a prayer that I came up with because I kept running into different types of suppression, different points of pain, upsets. And I said to myself, oh Allah, take my suffering and turn it into salvation for others. Therefore, by saving others, I save myself. So as I progressed and to study what the minister gave us, as I progressed and studied Scientology courses, my initial motivation was for others, but it was for myself. Evidently, I found myself off the bridge. I found myself in a predicament that I really didn't know how to get out of. And I was grateful for Brother Warren here, because as I was getting myself together, getting my act together, we co-audited. If he didn't become an auditor, like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan asked us to, if I didn't become an auditor, we wouldn't be able to co-audit. There, I believe for like 2 years, we may have audited each other twice or 4 times a month. You know, so while I was, and in addition, I applied OW write-ups.
Oh, that's cool.
Suppression handling, we did it ferociously, right? All of this material are in the free material that is available to us in Scientology. It didn't cost much or take much time to actually learn. When I started to get auditing, especially on Dianetics on the road to clear, man, I had no idea the ride I was in store for. So I used to think, man, if I could just stop thinking about X, or if I could just stop thinking about what that person did, that I would just be great. Like, don't even talk about anything else up the bridge, just to get over this one situation, and it'd be great. But I found that 90%, 95% of what I thought was hindering me was not.
Wow.
It was not. Things that I perceived that were the barriers, they weren't the barriers at all. I didn't know.
Wow.
And that is the deadly effect of engrams, is that you really don't know. If you really knew all about it through and through, exactly, it wouldn't really be able to, wouldn't be able to hold you back.
Right.
It wouldn't stop you from growing or progressing. From time to time, I realized also that the intense study that I did when I registered in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Madison, there were about 4 or 5 registered believers. It wasn't many of us, but we went really, really deep into what we were given. But while I was training that flag, I didn't get the opportunity to actually study as much as I would like to. So when it got time to do auditing, I was very surprised that the information that I tried to memorize and keep on my heart started to actually come out of me. The cognitions that I started to have started to remind me of things that I studied of truth, regardless of where it actually came from, which furthermore bore witness that, like the minister said, you are a natural possessor of truth. Truth is with you wherever you go, wherever you want to call it, that is actually truth. But never did I think that I can go anywhere and get the gains that I was getting in processing. I didn't try to find other ways to go clear, because I was very clear on who the minister introduced us to. I was very clear on my gains in Scientology. I saw how staff members act, how Sea Org members act, how Scientologists act. So I didn't have to try to look for other solutions if what I was doing was working, and it was working very well. So last, I would like to also read to you a quote from the minister that helped me to understand the value of being an auditor. Like I said, I always wanted to figure out, how do these books align? How do we actually make sense of it? So the minister said, Islam is magnificent, it's beautiful. We search the scriptures and we come up with wonderful teachings from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and God himself has guided us. But I found something in the teachings of Dianetics of Mr. Aaron Hubbard that I saw could bring up from the depth of our subconscious minds things that we would prefer to lie dormant.
Now, just realize, guys, he's quoting from Louis Farrakhan himself.
But the auditing process brings things up, and it's like bringing up demons out of us. And just as the book Bible says, that was the work of Jesus. So I take what I do as an auditor very serious. It's very important. Casting out, quote unquote, casting out demons. So I finally understood that this significance of what the New Testament talked about was the work of Jesus was the work of the auditor. It's work that Scientologists are doing. It's work that the Nation of Islam are also doing. So I close with the letter that I wrote publicly when I went clear, and I call it Purple Rain. Now, Purple Rain is a song by Prince, but most people don't know that Purple Rain is actually a gospel song. Yeah.
And L. Ron Hubbard was actually a black man.
And Purple Rain, the significance of it is God's love. So when you listen to the song again, try to look at it from that lens and see what you get out of it. In the Jewish tradition,
oh my God,
the day starts actually in the evening. So the day I went clear was the 4th of July.
Oh Jesus, oh my God.
Independence Day. That is also the founding day for the Nation of Islam in the West, July 4th, 1930.
Oh God.
Also in Scientology, July 4th of July is the day that the founding church in Washington, D.C. was incorporated on the 4th of July. So that date hold a lot of significance to me in independence and what we are all to do together in our different religions, going towards the one goal of saving this planet the right way. So today I honor the independence and freedom of my nation, my church, my individual being spiritually and mentally. Another huge step completed, cleared. Sometimes it can be very difficult to explain becoming more yourself mentally, emotionally, and aware of the potential that you have and how limitless it can be. At this level, it is a perpetual atmosphere with an engine that runs on your thoughts, your intention, effortlessly. As I progressed on this journey, the deep-seated and hidden pain that was revealed, relieved, and erased brought me closer and closer to what serenity and peace feels like. 95% of what hurt me in life was not what hindered my life. It was things unknown to me that blocked the sunlight, which can be hidden by material gain. This recent accomplishment showed me how important it is to change my inner reality, and how when I change my inner reality using the right method, my immediate environment was made better soon after. I truly understand that I changed the world from the inside out, not the other way around. The lessons from Dianetics are priceless. There's no amount of money or investment that you can have more valuable than the gift of understanding who you are and being at peace with what you are and being stable in a world full of confusion, hatred, and turmoil. So to my friends, my family, my auditors, my nation, my minister, my God, I salute you. Praise be to Allah.
That right there, folks, is how many Scientologists there are in Chicago.
And I thank all of them for their encouragement to me. And last but not least, I would like to thank L. Ron Hubbard. Where's the bus? Okay.
Hoya Bembe.
And let's give a special applause to L. Ron Hubbard.
I'm waiting for the hip hip. Hip hip? No hip hip? You're slacking.
Thank you.
Slacking on the hip hip. You're not supposed to applaud to LRH without giving 3 hip hip hoorays. That was incredible, guys. I did not know that the prophecy of the New Testament was fulfilled by the works of Scientology, as told to you by a member of the Nation of Islam. That was unbelievable. As a former Scientologist, I do not know how, if I were still in Scientology, I could keep a straight face while pretending that the members of the Nation of Islam could actually believe in both, whatever the hell they believe, and Scientology. It's unbelievable. David Miscavige really pulled off a coup on this one. I just don't know how he did it. And the thing is, I actually do know the story of how he did it. I just can't believe it worked. I mean, even Louis Farrakhan's basically telling his members, basically everything in the world is Islam. All knowledge is Islam. And by the way, the Nation of Islam is not the same thing as Islam. It's one of these things like a pickle is a cucumber, but a cucumber is not a pickle. The Nation of Islam do consider that they are Islam, but no Muslim would ever consider that the Nation of Islam is Islam. And I've heard the Nation of Islam described as a UFO cult. And I've even done a little bit of a dive down the rabbit hole. It was a while ago to try to understand where that came from. And there's some sort of a wheel, a spaceship, a wheel. I don't know. It's funny because Scientology also gets described as a UFO cult, but they're not waiting for the mothership. They just happen to believe in life all over the universe and all planets and all star systems, and, you know, kind of like Star Wars and Star Trek. So I don't claim to know what the Nation of Islam believes. That makes them distinct from the religion of Islam, but I know it's different. Okay, I start a bunch of comments, and we've got some. So let's go through the comments and the super chats. Passenger shaming, a lot of word salad, no dressing. Clown. Yeah. I think one of the reasons, personally, one of the reasons that David Miscavige has embraced this relationship with the Nation of Islam is Scientology's just dying a relatively quick death. They're losing members faster than they're gaining them. There's fewer members in Scientology today than there has been since like 1951. Dianetics came out in 1950. It was a huge, big phenomenon when it came out for a number of years. I think Scientology officially started in 54. But honestly, like there was probably more Dianeticists in 1951 than there are Scientologists now. And I'm told that if you go to Detroit, Chicago, DC, that a majority of the staff members are Nation of Islam members. Now, I don't know if that's an exaggeration. I don't know if it's a majority or if it's just a surprising number of them. But it's incredible. It's incredible how Miscavige pulled this off. Let's see here. The Midnight Show. Proud Out Ethics SP. Years ago, your channel helped me get out of Scientology. That's awesome, Midnight Show. I'm glad to hear it. If you have a story and you want to tell it, shoot me an email. growingupinscientology@gmail.com. Passenger Shaming says, Louis Farrakhan is a clown. Yes. And he looks kind of like L. Ron Hoya-Bembe. Okay. Carmen Martz. Sounds like there's about 10 people in that room for his speech. I didn't, I should have tried to count, when the cameraman turned around and shot everyone in the room. If somebody has a moment, they can go back to that point in the video and pause it and try to count how many people were in that room. And that's at least, you know, that's not far from how many Scientologists there are in the entire city of Chicago. Abigail says, I would guess that I would guess this is in Washington, D.C., since there's a large number of NOI members there. It does look like this was in Chicago, Abigail. I'm pretty sure. Nikki Hatfield. Hey, guys. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Nikki Hatfield. Dawn Paris-Sue. Where's this guy talking at? Pretty sure it was Chicago. Passenger shaming. The NOI are Holocaust deniers. That is absolutely true. The NOI is one of the most anti-Semitic organizations or groups that there are. And I remember back in, oh God, when was it? Sometime around 2002-ish or just after that is when this partnership's been going on for over 20 years. There are a lot of ethnically Jewish Scientologists. And I remember the outcry from a lot of the Jewish Scientologists being like, we gave an award to who? Some of these guys were like, does anyone in this organization actually know who Louis Farrakhan is? We're giving an award to Louis Farrakhan. Do you know who this guy is and what he believes? How can we be having anything to do with this guy? And that is because of his anti-Semitism. Dawn Paris-Sue, Muslim people would be ashamed of this man. Absolutely. Passenger shaming. Nation of Islam are not Muslims. Yes, that is true. And Dawn Paris-Sue also says NOI members are not Muslims. Form 13, 909. Div 6 is going to be pushing bean pies on public. I feel like this is making a reference that I don't understand. I'm not sure what the reference is to bean pies personally, but thank you for the comment and the super chat. And from MA, Massachusetts, I guess. So now he's a Muslim, Christian, Jewish Scientologist. Yeah, he's checking all the boxes. Ellen Goodman, the NOI is so anti-Semitic. I can't believe he mentioned something Jewish. I need a shower. Cheeky, welcome as a new channel member. Eclectic Jen. Wow, that is amazing. I feel like I don't know Christianity anymore. So crazy. He really drank that Kool-Aid. Yeah. I got to tell you, Cassie Hulsey, thank you for becoming a channel member. I really want to have a chat with someone who can give me some deeper insights into not how this partnership happened, because I actually do know how it happened. I want to get deeper insight into what the current members actually think about it and how they actually justify it to themselves. Is it really just as simple as they said all knowledge in existence is Islam. Therefore, we should be able to do whatever we want. And it could never conflict with the Nation of Islam beliefs because we stake a claim to all knowledge. I don't know. That's a pretty big catch-all. Is it really that simple? It seems like that would be hard to believe. It just seems like that would be hard to get so many members of an organization to believe. Do you guys know there's probably more members of the Nation of Islam than there are members of Scientology? I think I remember looking this up. There's 30-something thousand members of the Nation of Islam, and at this point, there's less than 30,000 Scientologists. So let's see. How big is the Nation of Islam? Let's see if we can get some reliable numbers here. So the Nation of Islam started in 1930. So it's even older than Scientology. Scientology officially started in even though the Scientology and Dianetics, in some ways they're different, but in some ways they're the same. Scientology started in 1950. So the NOI has 20 years on it. Although the Nation of Islam's official membership is relatively small, estimated at less than 50,000 people, the influence of Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam teachings has regularly extended into the mainstream. That's interesting because that shares some things in common with Scientology. Almost nobody believes almost nobody who I tell how small Scientology is. None of those people have any idea how small Scientology actually is, because Scientology has gotten so much traction in the mainstream media and popular culture that people just assume there must be millions and millions, even tens of millions of Scientologists. And it's just not true. There's less than 30,000. So it's interesting that Scientology and the NOI kind of have that in common. So the NOI membership is estimated at less than 50,000, and there's less than 30,000 Scientologists. So Miscavige managed to get an organization that was bigger than Scientology to tell all of their members to go join Scientology. What a coup. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me for this video, even though it is late in the evening. Glad I got this done. Glad you guys could join me for it. That is all for me for today. Stay tuned. So much more to come tomorrow and next week. And you really want to stay tuned for next week because we have a lot of amazing surprises, a lot of special guests coming into town. Going to have a lot of fun, a lot of surprise live streams. It's going to be a good time. All right, everyone. Thank you to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe